Hello, welcome to another episode of the Bubbs on Sports podcast. Today we have another New York Yankees series recap episode for you today. It is the morning after the New York Yankees finished off their series win yesterday in the rubber game of the three-game set against the Arizona Diamondbacks with a thrilling 6-5 win in 11 innings. Today is Thursday, April 4th. The Yankees have the off day today, and then tomorrow starts it all at home in the Bronx. The 6-1 Yankees will face off against the Toronto Blue Jays, who come into that series at 3-4. Yankee Stadium should be rocking. Soto debut in pinstripes inside Yankee Stadium. So a lot to be excited about. Of course, Marcus Stroman will get the ball tomorrow. It is a three-game set, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll discuss that series a little bit later on, what to expect, preview the pitching matchups and all that good stuff. But we've got to start today, of course, with recapping this Diamondbacks series. The New York Yankees are two series in to the 2024 campaign. They got the sweep against the Houston Astros, and they now take 2 of 3 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Like we mentioned, coming out of last series on Sunday night, where if you would have told me that the New York Yankees would have came out of that series against the Astros 4-0, get the sweep, I would have thought you were crazy. Even with the additions, even with Juan Soto, the Astros are still a very good team. They are still a threat. They are still a team that has caused the Yankees a lot of problems over the last couple seasons, right? But if you would have told me to go out there, sweep that series, and then go into Arizona and really not let your foot off the gas, it was a grind. It was a little bit of an uglier series. So a couple of wins that were not easy, but the W is a W. But to still take 2 of 3 against the National League pennant last year in the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that got to the World Series, to be able to take 2 of 3 there, and now you're 6-1 going home. If you would have told me that this is what the Yankees would have done, I would have completely signed up for it. You've got to be fired up if you're a Yankee fan. 6-1 going into the home opener. That place tomorrow is going to be buzzing. Let's be honest here. If the Yankees were 1-6, the place would probably be buzzing. But 6-1, the place is going to be buzzing. The energy is going to be through the roof. You hope that the players feed off of it. Marcus Stroman making his pinstripe debut, obviously with his first start on the road. So a lot to like here, a lot to love, a lot to be excited about, and just some overall takeaways from this series before we break it down game by game. The kids are getting it done. You know, you're seeing a lot of really good things from the kids. Anthony Volpe was excellent this series, especially in game number 1 where he went 4 for 4. We'll discuss that here in a little bit. Oswaldo continued his, solid hitting, especially in game 1 as well. He was able to get an RBI, drove Volpe in. When you look at even Wells, I know Wells, the numbers aren't quite popping up in the stat sheet just yet, but you can see Wells' swing is completely built for Yankee Stadium. There is so much potential with Austin Wells and that swing that once he gets to Yankee Stadium, once he finds his rhythm, he can have a couple long, just a lot of exciting moments. I guess that's the best way to put it. In that short porch, Yankee Stadium, lefty catcher, like there is a lot of potential there for Wells. He's got the swing for Yankee Stadium. Once he develops, gets used to the MLB pitching, finds his rhythm, finds his groove, you're going to be able to start to see that full potential, that full growth of his, where he's just able to take over and look really good. So a lot of really good things there. Again, it's just the overall at-bats as well. The at-bats in this series, again, you're seeing guys foul pitches off, work 3-2 counts. I saw a stat on Yes Network, I believe it was in game 1 of this series. The Yankees face an average like 4.8 pitches per AB or whatever during the Houston series. This is not last year's team, where last year's team you saw a lot of, 0-2 count, ground out, or 0-1 pop out, or, you foul pit, you take 0-1, you take a ball, then you look at the next two. The Yankees' approach last year under Lawson was some random stuff like, swing early, look late. That was their swing early, take late. That was like the Yankees mindset. This year, that's not the case. They're aggressive, but they're a good aggressive. They're working walks. They're working counts. I mean, in game 1, you saw what it did. Ryan Nelson threw 76 pitches, and he couldn't even get out of the third inning. That's how much they worked him. He came out of the first, I believe, with around 30, 40 plus pitches. have him throw 76 pitches, have them go to their bullpen in the third inning. To work a starter like that is going to be crucial this season if this continues, especially crucial when you get into, of course, this is way down the line. We're only 7 games in. When you get to the playoffs, it's especially crucial. Get the starters out of the game early, get to the bullpen, wear them down, especially in game 1 of a series. You don't have to go to the bullpen in game 1 of a 3-game set that early on. Benefits you the next 2 days, benefits you in those next 2-3 games, however long the series is. So you're just seeing those little things with the Yankees that you were not seeing last year that you've seen so far through 7 games. Of course, the vibe around the team, the picture Marcus Stroman posted yesterday on his Instagram was pretty cool when Alex Verdugo hit the home run in the 11th inning to lift the Yankees over the D-backs, which we'll get to here in a little bit, of course. You just see all the vibe around the team, the energy around this team. It's different. It's a completely different team. I talked about this in the last episode, in the Astros episode. You watch last year's game, it was genuinely boring. It was boring brand of baseball. Like, you did not have fun watching the Yankees last year. It wasn't. Not because they were losing. It was boring. They were not hitting. They would strike out a ton. They had runners on base. It was home run or bust. There was no 1 through 9 hitting. There was no working counts. It was so boring. It was so flat. It was awful. It was like watching paint dry. That was the equivalent to watching this team last year. This year, it's completely different. It's good ABs, working counts, getting on base, moving runners over. I mean, finally, we're seeing some extra base hits with runners on. Just all the great things that you want to see, you're seeing here with the Yankees. And even though this weekend, look, this series, they did hit a little bit of bumps. Game 2 was ugly, right? 7-0, it's ugly. But you kind of knew that was coming, right? They're not going to go 162-0. Maybe they go 161-1. But you knew 5-0. Nestor was starting. He didn't pitch well in game 1. You kind of felt like the Yankees were due for a 5-1 loss, 6-1 loss, 5-0. It turned out to be 7-0. One of those blowout losses where they just kind of hit a bump in the road and they lose the game. You knew it was going to happen. You knew they were going to lose a game like that. It always does, where they kind of come back down to earth a little bit. But again, you have to credit them for bouncing back and winning a thrilling victory yesterday, which was just a crazy, crazy game down the stretch there in those later innings, specifically in the 10th and 11th. Of course, in the 11th, with things getting really interesting, bases loaded and a pitcher coming to the plate. Reminds you of old-time National League rules. So we'll get to that there a little later on. But those are the overall takeaways. Of course, we will get into some of the struggles because there are still some things that need to be better with this team. Nestor needs to be better. The middle of the order struggled a little bit in game 2. Hopefully they can start turning around. You did see Judge. But we'll start here in game 1, where, again, you come into this game 4-0. Luis Gil takes the ball. First game pitched for him of the season. First start. Really the first time he's actually pitching in a live game in over a year. Like we mentioned, this was a guy that, of course, saw innings with the Yankees in 2021, saw innings with them in 2022. Only 1 game pitched in 2022, but 6 starts in 2021. Then had to get Tommy John. His 2023 season was pretty much just a complete wash. So you were kind of wondering how he would look out there. Of course, he earned the 5th spot in the rotation towards the end of spring, had a very, very strong spring. And I was excited to see what Luis Gil can do. This guy's got a lot of potential. From what you saw in the minor leagues, from what you saw, even though it feels like forever ago, but all the way back in 2021, what you saw with him that season, saw throughout the minor leagues, unfortunately, last year with the Tommy John, but he came out and he did look like he did not miss a beat. You got to give a ton of credit to him. He went out there, 4 2/3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned, 1 run. One of those, obviously 1 run, 1 earned, 3 walks, 6 Ks, 84 pitches, 52 strikes. This is the Luis Gil graphic here, as you could see. Like I mentioned, 4 2/3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 run, which was earned, 6 strikeouts in game 1. Just an excellent start. And man, he was hitting the velo, 100+ miles an hour. A couple of his fastballs got up there. Good mixing up of his stuff. He's electric. Got a live arm, electric arm. 100 miles an hour, up in the zone, good velocity, good location. just a lot to like there from Luis Gil. 6 strikeouts, clean slate, 84 pitches. Unfortunately, Aaron Boone had to take him out in that 5th inning. You would have liked to see him finish, qualify for the win. He would have gotten the win. Of course, Luke Weaver ended up getting the win, who went out there, pitched 2 1/3. I thought he was all right. He did allow the 1 run. He was all right. 2.45 ERA here through his first couple of innings of the season. But, you would have liked to see Gil get the win. Would have got an opportunity to get one more batter. It seemed like the Yankees were kind of in that 80 to 85 range with Gil. And of course, look, this is a guy that is getting a lot bigger of a role than the Yankees expected. They thought Garrett Cole would be out there. They wouldn't need another starter. They wouldn't need a 5th guy. They would roll with the 5 they've got. Luis Gil might come in a spot start situation throughout the season, which we've seen the Yankees do with a variety of different pitchers over the last couple years. Gil kind of did that in 2021, kind of a spot start guy, but he's taking over a much bigger role, coming off of Tommy John, young arm. You got to make sure that he stays healthy. They don't really have him on an innings limit. They're kind of just playing it by ear, seeing how he feels. So you understand it. It's only April. You want him to stay healthy. You don't want them to overwork him in his first start. But, of course, 84 pitches. Maybe he goes out there, gets a ground out in the next pitch. Either way, really good start from Luis Gil. And this is a guy that I really like, Luis Gil. I think we all Yankee fans have really liked what they've seen from him in his times in the big leagues. And if he can continue this trend, it'd be a huge boost to this Yankee rotation right now, because the way you look at this rotation, it feels like the bottom of the rotation is producing. It's weird because Nestor hasn't been very good. We'll get to Nestor. Rodon's been solid. Stroman was very good. Schmidt was all right. He was solid. And then Gil was solid. So the way you look at it, Nestor's kind of the weak link right now in the rotation. Nobody's been great. Nobody's been fantastic. But they've all been solid. They've all been good. Of course, it's only 1-2 starts really to judge on, but a really good opening there for Luis Gil. Like I said, the kids were getting it done. It was Luis Gil. It was Volpe. It was Oswaldo. Wells as well had an RBI. Those 3 combined, Volpe, Oswaldo, and Wells, had 3 of the team's 5 RBIs in this game. So a ton of credit to the kids, ton of credit to that bottom of the order. Volpe was fantastic. Show you the graphic here. 4 ABs, 4 hits, a double, 2 doubles, an RBI in game 1 of this series. What an evening for Anthony Volpe. Again, you saw his at-bats during the Houston series, and you really liked what you saw. Was patient. The out and away was the way people were targeting last season, was the way pitchers were targeting last season. That's the scouting report on Anthony Volpe. Out and away, out and away, out and away. And he was laying off of those during the Houston series. You go into Arizona, same sort of approach, work the counts, big performance from him. If it wasn't for Anthony Volpe, there's a good chance the Yankees might not win this game. That's how good he was. 4 for 4, 2 doubles, an RBI. Big night for him. Oswaldo as well. He had a single in the first that scored Volpe. Torres then double, which scored Oswaldo. So the Yankees right away got off to a quick start. Two runs in the first inning. You go to the 3rd inning. Volpe then singled. Rizzo was able to score. Wells then had that sac fly. So a lot of the kids stepping up. 5 runs, all scored within the first 3 innings. Ryan Nelson didn't even get out of the 3rd. Had to overexert, throw 70-plus pitches. Again, shows how the Yankees were able to work counts there in game 1. So a lot to like there. Now, again, here the middle of the order didn't do a whole lot. Judge had a hit. Rizzo went 0 for 3. Stanton went 0 for 3. So not much there. They still find a way to get the win. However, game 2, the middle of the order struggling, kind of reared its ugly head a little bit more just because of the fact that Nestor struggled. They end up going to lose the game. But one other thing here, credit to the bullpen as well in this game. Yankees take the quick 5-0 lead. Luis Gil looked good. Luke Weaver got the job done. Nick Birdie came in, got the job done. Victor Gonzalez as well got the job done. Now, game 2, the bullpen was not as good. Jake Cousins, Victor Gonzalez combining for the 4 of the 7 runs allowed, but the bullpen was able to get the job done in this game. And that's something I like about this Yankee team. For a while, Last year too, they got off to slow starts in games. They would fall down 2-3 nothing early. It would feel like they're down 7-0 because they couldn't score. And then the Yankees would almost like try and claw back late. They would get a late rally, not do anything with it. But that's the different approach of this Yankee team. It's early and often. It's first couple innings they've been able to score. Games that they have won, they're able to get off to quick starts. Even yesterday, it was the 2 runs in the 4th inning. This game, it was 5 runs within the first 3 innings. Second, 2 runs. Third, 3 runs. You get off to these early starts. You hand it over to the bullpen, which has been very solid for the most part. And that's how this team, that's the formula, that's the recipe to win games. It's very tough to beat this Yankee team if they continue to do that. Start fast, start fast, start fast. And that's what they've done. So game 1, a 5-2 win to get to 5-0. Now you go to game 2, and look, this was ugly. This was brutal. Watching this game, it was unfortunate because you kind of knew it felt like right when the Arizona Diamondbacks put up the 3 spot in the first inning off of Nestor. You kind of knew that this game was not the Yankees. It kind of felt like one of those games, like I mentioned in the open. The Yankees were on the high of riding the 5-0 stretch, swept the Astros, won game 1 of this series. All those great things. Nestor comes out, lets up 3 runs in the first. It was just like all the wind was taken out of the Yankees' soul. You knew that the Yankees were not. It felt like you knew right then and there, first inning, that game was over. Right when Nestor, they put up the crooked number, put up a 3 spot in the first. And like I said, you kind of knew that the game that the Yankees were going to lose, it was going to be ugly. It was going to be a 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, where you just kind of are going so well, and then boom, you just hit a brick wall and you just get knocked down. And then you got to find a way to get back up. That's kind of what this game felt like. It was a little bit of a dose of reality, back to reality. All right, undefeated stretch is over. Now you got to go play for a rubber game tomorrow. That was the mindset coming out of this game. There wasn't a whole lot to take away. Yankees had 3 hits. They had an error. The biggest thing to take away from this game from a lineup perspective was Judge, Rizzo, and Stanton didn't do a whole lot. They combined. They went 0 for 10 with 4 strikeouts and a walk. Judge did get going yesterday, which you got to give him credit there. You would still like to see a little bit more from Stanton. You would still like to see a little bit more from Rizzo. I know Rizzo had a good day yesterday. Still overall, though, on the season, the average is still that 222 range. Again, it's only 7 games. It's not like we're talking about a 100-game sample size here. It's still only 7 games in. But you would still like to see more from that lineup. Stanton right now is hitting 150. He's got a 540 OPS. Outside of his home run in the 9th inning against the Astros to make it a, 7-1 game, I believe. It was basically a garbage time homer. Outside of that, Stanton hasn't done a whole lot. So you would like to see more from Stanton. It's really been the top of the order. It's been Soto and then the young guys. That's kind of how the lineup has been. Verdugo, of course, with the big homer yesterday. So not a whole lot there from the lineup. Pitching-wise, it was bad. Nestor is the complete opposite of last season. Here's Nestor's graphics. Here's Nestor's numbers through 2 games this year. 10 innings pitched, 13 hits, 7 runs, all of them earned, and a 6.30 ERA. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Nestor's got to be a lot better. It's weird because last year, Nestor, similar to Clark Schmidt, would be really good through the first couple innings and then would struggle late. Struggle that second, third time through the order. And you would walk out of his outings. You would watch the first couple innings. He'd be great. He'll go 3-4 innings scoreless. And you get to that 5th, 6th inning range and he'd let up a 3-4 run spot. This year, it's the opposite. It's the first inning or 2, he's struggling, and then he's finding ways to give him some length. This game's a prime example. Allowed 3 runs in the first inning. After that, threw 4 scoreless to hand it over to the bullpen. So I give credit to Nestor for working through it. It was very similar against Houston. He allowed a couple runs early in that game, was able to work through it, was able to grind it out, was able to give him some length. Didn't get out of control where it was he allowed 6 runs and had to leave, after 2 1/3, 2 2/3. You got to give him credit for at least grinding and giving them 5 innings. But 7 runs in 2 starts, a 6.30 ERA, not being able to get out of the first inning unscathed is a serious concern for Nestor Cortes, and it needs to change. You kind of felt like going into the season, one of 2 guys were going to struggle. It was either going to be Carlos Rodon or Nestor Cortes. One of those guys you felt like might have been the weak link. Right now, it's Nestor. You hope he could turn it around, but unfortunately, the 2022 Nestor that we saw pitch to a 2.44 ERA is becoming more and more uncommon. 14 starts post. He had a 4.97 ERA this year, 2 starts in, 6.30 ERA this year. Not good. Not good at all. You got to get out of the first innings. If you can't get out of the first inning, it's going to be, you can almost chalk up every Nestor start as a loss. That's just the way it is. Give him credit for getting out of give him credit for not letting it get too bad where it's, again, letting up 6 runs and not being able to get through the third. You give him credit for giving him a little bit of length. But every single start, it cannot be 3-4 runs early in the game. Give him some length. Now you got your team in a hole. You know, the Yankees were in a hole. Like this game you knew was over right away. Right away. Coming back in games every time Nestor starts is just not going to be sustainable. Especially a night like this where your offense doesn't quite have it. You cannot let up a 3 spot in the first. So Nestor's got to be a lot better. It seems like teams have kind of figured him out. You know, that nasty Nestor, the timing stuff. He was a guy that you kind of felt like was going to be impacted a little bit by the pitch clock in a negative way. And I'm not saying the pitch clock's the reason why he's struggling, but it kind of felt like he was going to be impacted in a negative way by the pitch clock. It seems like that's a little bit of the case. Like ever since the pitch clock's implemented, he has not been the same pitcher rather. I don't know if that's it. I don't know if it's just his stuff. I don't know if it was, look, guys, we've seen guys have these crazy 1-year seasons where they are great. Nestor was an all-star in 2022, 2.44 ERA, was one of the better pitchers in baseball. There are a lot of guys out there that have 1-year wonder type seasons. It feels like that might have been the case with Nestor, but I also feel like he's a lot better than this. He can't be this bad. Because if you do go back to 2021, he pitched to a 2.90 ERA. So he had back-to-back seasons. He had 42 starts over 2021 and 2022 where he pitched to a below 3 ERA. His last 14 starts, though, 4.97 ERA in 2023, and through 2 starts here, 6.30. So what Nestor is it? Is it the Nestor 2021, 2022 Nestor, or is Nestor more of 2023, 2024? I mean, if you go back and look at his time in Seattle and in his first time with the Yankees, and of course the 4 games that he pitched with the Orioles, he was never very good. Career ERA guy of 3.88. Can he get down to that? Can he be a high 3, low 4 guy? I think he can. He can't be this bad. But it's been an ugly start. Again, show you the graphic. 10 innings, 13 hits, 7 runs. 6.30 ERA. Not a winning recipe. Especially when the middle of the order goes 0 for 10 with 4 strikeouts and a walk. And the bullpen wasn't very good either. So, not a whole lot to take away from here, other than Nestor struggling. It felt like a loss that was coming. You know, you knew you were going to lose at some point, and you felt like once you were going to lose, it was going to be one of those 5-1, 6-1 type games. This happened to be 7-0, where nothing goes your way. You get bad pitching, you don't hit, and it happens. You move on now to game 3. So reality set in. You're now 5-1. All right, now you got to focus up. You got to go win a series. Because now if you lose a series, you lose 2 straight. You go into Yankee Stadium, not the same vibe. So now you got to go win a series, and the Yankees do that. We'll start here with the pitching and Carlos Rodon. We'll also get to the bullpen here before we get to the lineup itself. This was a crazy game, just right off the bat here. This was a crazy, crazy game. We'll get to the craziness here. Rodon started this game, so a big opportunity for him. Rubber game of a 3-game set, trying to get a series win. I thought it was really solid. He threw 5 1/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 2 walks, 3 Ks, allowed 2 homers. That was the only 2 runs allowed. 95 pitches, 60 strikes. And as you can see, the graphic that I put up here on the screen, This season so far, 2 games started, 2 games in, he has thrown 9 2/3 innings, 12 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, and an ERA of 2.79. So far, Carlos Rodon has put together a very, very nice 2024 campaign. Through 2 games, he hasn't been great. He hasn't been dominant. He's been solid. He's given them 2 quality starts. 4 1/3 a run allowed, 4 Ks rather, on Friday against Houston, and then yesterday on Wednesday against Arizona, 5 1/3, 3 Ks, 2 runs on 2 homers. The long ball hurt him a little bit yesterday, but the biggest thing with Rodon is he's keeping them in the game. He gave him a chance to win yesterday. He walked off the mound yesterday, giving them a chance to win. He walked off the mound. It was a tie game. 5 1/3 gave him some length. You needed that performance from Rodon after what you saw at Nestor the night before. I think you have to be very pleased if you're a Yankee fan with Carlos Rodon. Is he dominant? Is he 8, 9 strikeouts, 7 shutout? No, he's not. But he's been solid. And you hope that he continues this trend. 2.79 ERA is very, very good. After what he produced last year, to have his ERA below 3 by about 21 points is a very good sign. He had a 6.85 ERA last year. To get that thing down to 2.79 and 2 starts so far, you've got to like what you've seen from as a Yankee perspective. It's not the prettiest thing ever, but it's been quality starts. They're solid starts. He's getting the job done. He's finding ways. So credit there to Carlos Rodon. The next pitcher we've got to talk about is Ian Hamilton. This guy is unbelievable. I mean, he has to be one of the best relievers in the game. That's how good he's been. Let's take a look at the graphic. 5 2/3 innings pitched. This is his season so far, 3 games pitched. 5 2/3, 1 hit, no runs, no earned. Of course, the ERA there at 0. If you want to add the extra 0, 0.00. Ian Hamilton has been a monster. Yesterday, 2 2/3, no hits, no runs, no earned, no walks, 4 strikeouts. He's allowed 1 hit in 5 2/3 innings. He has not allowed a run. He has 7 strikeouts. This guy has by far been the filthiest, the nastiest pitcher in this Yankee bullpen. And we've got to start a conversation about this guy being one of the more underrated relievers in all of the game. That's how good Ian Hamilton has been. You got to give credit to this front office for finding Ian Hamilton, Matt Blake for turning him into what he's turned him into. This was a guy that has gone through a lot of adversity in his career, got hit in the face with a line drive, had to get multiple surgeries, seemed like his career is potentially over, gets picked up by the Yankees, and what he's done to revive his career has been special. He's been special. And he does not shy away from the big moment as well. High leverage situations, he gets the job done. Part of me feels like Ian Hamilton's a better closer, would be a better closer than Clay Holmes. But I could also see you don't want to mess up the role he's in. He's been pitching great. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That kind of the mindset that you can roll with there as well, where Ian Hamilton, you want to keep him in this role because if you move him to closer and he starts to struggle, closer's not for everybody, but I mean, he's shown the ability to step up in big moments and be a high leverage guy. And this was a guy that struck out the side yesterday. Rolls out of bed and strikes out the side. I mean, he's been that good. Loizaga also did well. In innings pitched, 1 K. Clay Holmes, Caleb Ferguson. This is where the game got interesting. And we'll get to Judge here. We'll get to Verdugo here in a second. But we have to get to the end of this game here. Well, I guess we can combine Verdugo in with this. So you go to the extra innings, right? The Yankees tied 2-2. I mean, that's all you need to know. This game was 2-2 going into extras. It ends 6-5. So that's all you need to know about extra innings. There was 7 combined runs between the two teams. Ended up finishing 6-5. So a lot of action. You go to the top of the 10th. Verdugo homers. Volpe scores. So you get a two-run home run by Verdugo. It was the first pitch he saw. 4-seam fastball. 96 miles an hour. Boom. Shoots to the left field. Or I apologize, right field. 395 feet down the line. You go to the bottom of the 10th. Diamondbacks score 2 runs. There was an error on the Yankees. It was Volpe threw it, dragged Rizzo off the bag. He tried to get the tag on. Ball fell out of his glove. The way I view it is that's more, I think, on Volpe. I know you could say, oh, well, Rizzo had it in his glove. He's got to catch it. Yeah, but Volpe pulled him off the bag. Rizzo should not have to tag there. If Volpe just makes sets and makes a good throw, then, you're not, it should be a routine play. That should not be a play where Rizzo needs to get dragged off the bag and has to make a tag. Volpe's got to make a better throw. So I'm not going to kill Volpe for it, but that's the way I view that play. I know that was a debate. Who was it on? I get the side of it that Rizzo had the ball in his glove. He's got to catch it. I understand that. But I more see the side of just make a better throw and you're not in that situation. So either way, they scored 2 runs. Corbin Carroll ended up reaching on an infield single. Volpe made a heck of a play, barehanded it, threw it while he was diving, falling to the ground. Almost got Corbin Carroll, but he's fast, got speed. It was a slow roller. Volpe was playing back. He had corners in, middle, back. Nice effort by Volpe. Unfortunately, just couldn't get it done. So game ties there at 4-4. You then go to the 11th. They balk. Soto was pointing at the pitcher. It's funny. So he balks. John Birdie scores. Torres ends up going to second. Judge had a monster double that pays huge dividends because he doesn't get that double. Torres doesn't score. Then you're talking about probably this game going to 12 innings, and who knows what happens after that. So Judge doubles. He goes to, he scores Torres, 6-4 game. And while we're on the note of Judge here, here's Judge's graphic from yesterday. Like I mentioned, the middle of the order was struggling a little bit, but Aaron Judge stepped up in a big way yesterday. 4 at-bats, 1 double, a home run, 3 RBIs. The biggest RBI, the biggest hit coming, of course, in the 11th inning where he drives Torres in for the winning run. So a huge day there for Aaron Judge. Now you go to the bottom of the 11th, and this is where things get crazy. So the Diamondbacks end up scoring a run. Clay Holmes ends up getting pulled. They bring in Caleb Ferguson. First and seconds, Yankees intentional walk because the pitcher's coming up. The Diamondbacks had nobody left on the bench to pinch hit. So Scott McGee comes in to face Caleb Ferguson. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 11th inning, 6-5 game, tying run on third, winning run on second. If you're a Diamondbacks fan, you're like, great, this is awesome. 2 outs, this is it. 1 hit, drives in 2 runs, game over. Problem is, pitcher's at bat. So Scott McGee, who came in the 11th inning, goes out there, is up at bat. I believe he never had an at bat before. So they had a pitcher at bat with the bases loaded. He fouled a ball off down the line. I mean, he basically swung when it was in the catcher's glove. They end up striking out McGee looking. Yankees get the job done. But the drama in the 11th inning, you have to pull Clay Holmes. You have to bring in Caleb Ferguson. Bases are loaded. 2 outs. Pitcher comes up, and as a Yankee fan, you're thinking to yourself, all the pressure in the world, all the pressure in that stadium was on one guy. It was on Caleb Ferguson because you could not let Scott McGee hit the ball off you. You could not let him get a base hit or whatever. You also had to throw strikes. He had all the pressure to throw strikes because you knew McGee probably wasn't going to swing. You knew he was looking for a walk. He swung out 1 pitch. It was the ball he hit. He swung so late. He chopped it down the line at first base line. But you knew that, he had to throw strikes. All the pressure on the world was on Caleb Ferguson. So he gets it done. I believe it was a 1-2 count, struck him out. So it wasn't too much stress. It wasn't like it got to 3-2 and he walked the tying run in. Nope. Took care of business. I liked what I've seen from Caleb Ferguson so far. You look at these guys in the bullpen. Ian Hamilton, Loizaga, Clay Holmes, Ferguson all have yet to allow a run. Or I should say yet to allow an earned run. So credit to those guys. Cardiac Clay, though, I don't know. It's stressful. It's stressful. I've never been, I always looked, I thought that they probably should have went out and tried to get a closer. I've always felt that Clay was not necessarily a closer. He's got some good moments, but I just don't think he's a closer. I just don't think he's that type of guy. I don't know. I don't love what Clay Holmes has done. He gets the job done at times, but it's not easy. It's not easy. It's ugly. So I don't know. It was stressful there down the stretch. It was even stressful with the bases loaded because all the pressure was on the pitcher. There was no pressure on Scott McGee, pitcher that was batting. There was no stress on him. Nobody expected to do anything. There was no pressure. All the pressure was on Caleb Ferguson because you could not walk him. You had to throw strikes. You cannot let him get off it. You cannot let him get a hit. You walk the pitcher and the tying run scores, the media, the post game after this game would have been all over Caleb Ferguson. The New York market would have been all over him. So good thing the Yankees got the job done. Again, Judge 2 for 4 in this game, 3 RBIs. We'll throw up the graphic here. Verdugo as well, 1 for 4, 2 RBIs, the big homer in the 10th. Rizzo also had 2 hits, so hopefully that gets him going here a little bit. Glaber also had a 2-hit day. So a lot to like there from the Yankees offensively down the stretch, 4 runs in the extra innings. Close game, not very, very pretty, but got the job done. And that's all that matters. And that man right there, the captain, got on the board with a home run. So takes the monkey off his back going into Yankee Stadium. Already got the long ball. Now goes into the home opener with one under his belt. So now you head to the Blue Jay series here. Actually, quickly before that, some of my top performers this series, of course, Volpe. He actually walks out of here with the highest batting average right now on the Yankees at 409. He's got a 1.182 OPS as well, which is also the highest. Your highest batting averages and your highest OPS belong to Anthony Volpe and Oswaldo Cabrera. So credit to those guys, kids getting it done. So Volpe, Oswaldo, Ian Hamilton, Alex Verdugo, Luis Gil, Rodon, and Judge. Those are some of my top performers. Specifically, of course, in Game 3, where Ian Hamilton stepped up, Verdugo with a big home run, Judge with the home run and the double. A lot to like there from those guys. Now, the series upcoming here, Yankees will start a 6-game homestand now against the Toronto Blue Jays. 3 against Toronto, 3 against Toronto, 3 against Miami, total of 6, of course. Your pitching probables for the 3-game set here against Toronto. Friday, 1:05 start. Tomorrow, home opener. It'll be Marcus Stroman versus Yusei Kikuchi. On Saturday, it'll be Clark Schmidt versus Kevin Gausman. And then Sunday, Luis Gil will get the ball against Bowden Francis. So those are the pitching matchups for this weekend. Stroman, Schmidt, and Gil will be your starters before it goes back up to the top with Nestor on Monday against Miami, which is they're 0-7. They're 0-7. I believe they are about to make history. I think if they get to 0-9, I think it'll be the first team since Minnesota in 2016, I think, to start that bad. So, if the Yankees take 2 or 3 here against Toronto, you start to get greedy. If you walk out of this series 8-2, there's a good chance you sweep Miami. We could potentially be walking out of this homestand with a 6 or a 5-1 homestand. There's a good chance the Yankees can go 5-1 here. Toronto's 3-4. Miami right now is 0-7. Now, of course, we'll see what happens. They've got a 3-game set against St. Louis before they play the Yankees, but you like your chances here, these next 6 games with the way this team's playing, for this Yankee team to continue to win and win and win and really jump out to a great, great start here as the games continue to rack up. Right now, the standings, Yankees are up in the division, 6-1 record. Behind them is Boston at 5-2. So Boston's a game back. Baltimore's 4-2. They're a game and a half back. Tampa and Toronto are both 3-4. They are 3 games back. So Yankees will look to keep Toronto there at the bottom of the division. And of course, we'll have a series recap here on the channel on Sunday after the series finale, hopefully recapping another series win and maybe even a series sweep. So that'll do it for an episode of the Bubbs on Sports podcast and another Yankee series recap. As always, stay tuned. Make sure to please like and subscribe. We've got a lot more baseball content and overall general New York sports content as well. We talk all things New York sports here on the channel. I also have a Jets podcast, as you can tell right there by the sign, on all podcast audio platforms. So make sure to check that out. We're covering all things New York sports. So let's go, Yankees. We'll see you back here on Sunday, recapping New York, Toronto from Yankee Stadium. As always, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.